Actually, I met Jim when he started, left the idea of being a band director and went to work for Danny Hankin, who had just bought C.G. Conn, as director of advertising and marketing for, let's see, back then it was Conn, Sherrill and Roth, Artley, and Slingerland, and Deegan. And jobs have challenges, as we all know. That's why you get paid. But this was especially challenging because, as I had mentioned, Dan came from the music industry, and his specialty was advertising in band and orchestral instruments. And Gemeinhardt only hastened and increased his love of that part of the business. So Jim took on an impossible assignment that's often called, don't do what your boss does because you will never be good enough. Jim was good enough, but I'm sure he lived Danny's rules, which were 24/7, 365, and when I need you now. He moved to Selmer, and about the time that Bill Ludwig, Bill II, had sold Selmer had sold Ludwig Musser. And Bill was actually an interesting person in the sense that he too was a great lover of music, a great lover of the family company. And actually, I always suspected when I met Bill at Selmer for many years that he actually put in more time working when it was at Selmer than he did at Ludwig. Jim survived with him, and Jim did a great job in the idea of being just more than a percussionist. He understood the idea of records, sales growth. I mean, one of the things that always amazed me about Jim when we talk about him is how organized a person he is. There's always lists, there's always things to do. And if I were to bet almost 20 years later, if I walked in his office, it wouldn't look that much different.
I first met Jim, I started with the company in 1972, and I started out in the factory actually as a saxophone player, but was soon, a few months, I was in customer service. And shortly after that, I became the artist relations guy. So this was back in the early mid-70s, and long hair was in vogue, and leisure suits were very, very big back in the day. But I became the artist relations manager, and one of our bigger stars was Bill Watrous, famous trombone artist, and Bill was coming to South Bend. So he was going to do a master class at the University of Notre Dame and play during the halftime show of the famous Notre Dame UCLA game. UCLA was the #1 basketball team at that time in the country. And so they're playing in South Bend, and I took Bill Watrous because he's going to do he's going to be on national television. He's going to play the halftime show with the Notre Dame band. So as I get there, Jim Catalano, I first met. He was the I think the captain of the pep band, and sitting behind a set of drums. We met, and I'm sitting right next to him, and that's how I first met him. And the story is that during the halftime show, see, Johnny Wooden, the famous basketball coach from UCLA, was from South Bend. He taught at, I think, South Bend Central High School. And so he left and made himself very famous by coaching the UCLA team, all the national championships, etc. So Bill's up there going to perform with the pep band at halftime show. The place was packed. They're going nuts because Notre Dame's leading, or at least they won the game. And all during the playing and the taping of Bill Watrous, supposed to be on national NBC television, they're interviewing John Wooden. So it never got aired. Bill Watrous never got aired. And so he's upset. He's going to sue the company. He's going to sue Notre Dame. He's going to sue NBC Studios. And so we're trying to calm him down. But that was my first encounter with Jim, because he took good care of me. He was a student, I think a grad student at that time at the University of Notre Dame. So that was my first encounter with Jim.
He can't score. Tournament, fires, Shoemake, it's all over. The #1 ranked UCLA Bruins have been upset by the Irish of Notre Dame. 71-70, the longest winning streak in collegiate sports history has ended.
Well, if you look way back when we purchased Ludwig and where it was going, because at that time it was starting to slide some, Bill was getting older. Bill III had really no interest in carrying the name on in the business. He was really more interested in artist relations, and that's really where he wanted to stay. Jim was the guy who had to come in and really take that brand and build it back up. Not just from a school percussion side, but really from the outfit side, from the Musser side and everything else. And he spent all of his time focused on trying to build that brand. And over the years, he's always been committed to do whatever he can to build that brand. And lots of changes have happened over the years. He's been through multiple leadership changes, such as I, and everybody had different structure and thinking where the brand should go and how much money we should invest. But in most cases, Jim was in a position where there wasn't a lot of funding to build a brand, so he did the best he could with what he had. And I think he probably did the best job of a lot of our guys over the years, basically based on what he had to work with financially. And he did a lot with almost nothing. So I think that's probably his biggest commitment to the company and his dedication to the company about keeping that brand alive and doing what he could, whatever he could to keep it alive.
See that guy that's playing on that drum back there? That's Jim Catalano. After this event, he will end and retire 36 years with Conn, Selmer, Ludwig. Let's give him a big hand. 36 years, and I've been knowing him for over 40 years, I think. Yes, indeed. To stay with a company that long, that's unbelievable. Let's send him out with a monster jam.
As you go into the next chapter in your life, as Jim's going to go, there will be a new chapter, and there will be life after Conn Selmer, and I'm sure he'll be doing more teaching, more involved there, which he loves to do, more playing, which he loves to do. And I'm sure he'll be doing a lot of clinics and things over the years, for the next few years, because he's so passionate about sharing his knowledge with others.
He was always intimately involved in everything he could be involved in. And it was a pleasure to work with him because there was this intentiveness, and he was, like many people in the business, he could talk the talk, but he could walk the walk.
Companies change, jobs change, a lot of things go through change. So he took on a responsibility, the next new opportunity. He would take on that opportunity, prepared to do the utmost to get the job done and get it done right. And so I think that's the biggest impact that Jim Catalano's had with the company.
We did. And that's a wrap.